And here they are, your hosts, Dylan Weissman and Mike Langser.
All right, welcome back. Mastering Mitzvahs, episode 167. And we're going to do a quick rapid fire one because there's a topic that hit our desk, my desk, our desk. And I thought, wow, how have we not covered this, at least not recently?
Actually blows my mind that we have this many episodes in and didn't talk about it.
Yeah, so we gotta get right into it. Years and years ago, it was very popular to have some level or layer of live musician at an event. I can remember a time where you would have like a conga player or like some sort of Latin percussion to play along with the music. I remember at my own bar mitzvah, we had a Latin percussionist and we had a vocalist who sang ballads.
Okay.
So the live musician, the live artist has since faded and now is making a big comeback.
So actually go back a little bit further. Let's talk history lesson here. Back in the day, bands were most prevalent. I mean, I'm older than you are. We're not going to say by how many years. But I think a third of the bar mitzvahs I went to had a band. And then 2/3 had a DJ. Or maybe it was 50-50. It's hard to remember. It was so many years ago. But bar mitzvah bands were the thing. Yeah. That was the thing back in the day. And then the DJ evolution came out and it became cool and DJs could play more variety of music. But musicians started this like hybrid thing with the DJ. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
So if you want to take like the theory out of the wedding planning side, when you're deciding between a band and a DJ, oftentimes those who are looking at a band are drawn to the contagious energy that comes with a big musical presence. Mm-hmm. It just goes to show the more people you have fully invested in the entertainment and the entertaining of your guests, the more likely it is that that energy is going to transcend more than just the dance floor. Mm-hmm. But the downside to a band is they're not nearly as flexible as a DJ is both on music and making left turns as needed for your event and as it evolves. And some bands really stay in their lane. So if you're looking for a huge, collection of music and diversity, that is a drawback of having a band. So then you go into the DJ side. DJ, you have less people playing big instruments, and you lose a little bit of that contagious energy that comes from people. So then you bring in the hybrid solution where you have a musician playing along with your DJ. So the flexibility and the diversity of a DJ coupled with the excitement of live music.
Yeah, oh my God, Dylan, you just threw so much stuff. My head is just spinning. All these things, I want to piggyback what you just said. I got to simmer for a second. Let's take a couple steps back because that was rapid fire.
Okay. I told you we're moving fast.
Yeah. Big band takes up a lot of space. Back in the day, the stage was the band, and the band leader was the MC. That person made a couple announcements, introduced the whole road, did a grand entrance, but that was before the days of dancers, before the days of a true mitzvah MC who's become their own celebrity in the world that we live in. Now the draw towards this, mitzvah MC, celeb type person, now people want stages for the guests to dance on. Now they want bigger setups with more lights, TVs, video walls. The space for a band has diminished in a lot of venues, okay? So that's one thing. And man, you were talking about, can a band do left turns? And that is really something interesting. I mentioned to you, I did an event last night, and it was rapid fire request after request after request from the guests. Now, it wasn't a mitzvah, but this does happen at Bar Bat Mitzvahs as well. One guest wants a hip hop song, another guest wants a club song, somebody wants a country song. Yeah. And
I mean, you have, in most cases, 3 generations at a minimum at this event that all deserve to be heard and seen.
Right. So, advantage to a DJ. I was hitting left turn, right turn, 180s, 360s as fast as they were coming to make these guests happy. Not a knock on bands, because actually I'll be the first to admit, I love a great band.
I had a band for my wedding.
Yeah, actually, you did. But bands can't make those turns so quick, especially, the bigger the band, you have an 8 or 10 or 12 piece band on stage, they know the song that they have to play from start to finish, and then they know the next song because their sets are most often pre-planned.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember you have to, in my experience, I had to select 40 or 50 songs, and then they just built it into their set list.
Sure.
So Now we're at the point where you have your DJ. Most bar and bat mitzvahs are using DJs, and I would say that the trend of having live musicians are coming back. So let's talk about some of our favorites and how to use them.
Types of musicians.
Yeah.
So favorite types.
The simplest one that I've seen the most is a percussionist.
Yep.
And there's a couple different ways to use percussionists, and really there's only one style you can have from the perspective of it's going to play along to your dance music. It's not going to play along to your dinner music. It's not going to play along to your cocktail music. This percussionist is going to be set up in your main room and playing along and giving a driving beat to whatever music is playing.
So the DJ is actually driving the music, selecting the songs, and the percussionist is playing over top of the DJ, following whatever quick left turns the DJ might. DJ might play a full song, might play a whole 80s set, or might just ping pong all over the place, but the percussionist is going to follow the DJ who's musically in the lead.
Right. So I would say modern day bar and bat mitzvah percussionists have a variety of different tools and auxiliary instruments. So you're going to have your congas and your timbales, but you're also going to have your tempo blocks and your chimes and your cymbals. And I'm going to say, like, most of the really great percussionists are also doing some sort of electronic drum that then can be added into the style of music. So if you're playing a lot of hip hop and rap, they can bring back an 808 track and actually drum along with it.
Sure. So there's Latin style percussionists. There's what we call the rock star style percussionists seated at the traditional drum kit. And then there's like kind of like a hybridish thing with like the party percussionist, which is more along the lines of a rock kit, but they're standing.
Okay. So percussionist, you know exactly what you're getting out of it.
Yep.
Let's go to the next most popular, which is going to be a saxophonist. Mm-hmm. We're fortunate to work with some really great saxophone players, and what I have noticed from these great ones is their range. They have a huge range. So they can play a fun and funky cocktail hour, they can play a down-tempo dinner set, and they can play along with all of your dance music and provide that great energy. Another great reason why a saxophone belongs at a bar or bat mitzvah is the fact that they are mobile. They can be in your crowd, on the stage, out of the way. The point is that they're there.
I thought you were going to say because it goes so well with the hora. That's where I thought. I thought you were going to say that. I was going to piggyback on the mobile piece. That is different than a drummer. In most cases, the percussionist is stationary. They will sometimes go out in the crowd with like one over-the-shoulder instrument or, a couple of maracas or, triangles. But the saxophonist is completely wireless and mobile.
Yeah. And, I mean, I would say that some of the best saxophonists have a collection of saxophones that they're bringing out. Like, they have an LED one, and they have ones that match your theming, whether it's red and black or blue and yellow. Like, they have saxophones that match it. They look great, and they're a big part of it.
And I mentioned it, but let's just hit home the point. The hora with the saxophone just brings that to another level. Yeah, absolutely.
So those are the two most popular, percussion and saxophone. Let's talk about some other ones that I've seen, or we've seen, rather.
Can I take it?
Please.
Electric violin.
That's what I was going for.
Okay. So now you have to think of one while I'm talking.
Okay.
Electric violin is actually one of my favorites. I have a hard time actually deciding if I like that more or less than a sax. And a lot of the time you think violin, you think very elegant, you think very traditional, very romantic, kind of slow. But that's not the case with electric. These electric violinists, they're like playing EDM music. Like in a really good musician, any of these musician types that we're talking about, maybe not so much percussion, but sax or violin, I've had people say that, wow, they're playing the vocals. Like, they're playing the melodies. They're not necessarily playing the beat. Yeah. They're not reading notes. It sounds like the sax or the violin is singing the song.
Yeah. Or if it's appropriate, they will play accent on the song, right? Mm-hmm. They won't necessarily take over the vocal side of it.
Right.
Another great reason, much like the saxophone, a violin can play down tempo. They can play a fun cocktail hour, and then they can play along with all of your music genres for dancing.
Yeah.
They also often have a very great presence because they're mobile.
Yep.
They're wireless. They're electric. Some of them have even light up violins. So they're great for that reason. All right, I'll give you another one that I think is great. I think a great keyboardist can transform certain aspects of the celebration. Mm-hmm. Okay? When you have a really fun keyboardist playing along to music at your cocktail hour, it's noticed.
Yes.
And that sets a really, really great first step into dance party, is having a fun live musician like a keyboardist at your cocktail hour.
Let's also face it, most cocktail hours are pretty similar to each other. Like, you know, if we do 50 bar mitzvahs this year, you know, you personally, the cocktails hours are almost always the same. You know, maybe one has lamb chops and one has a carving station, but you know, like, it's the same background music. It's the same similar conversations. I motivate, encourage, and really proclaim to clients, think different, out of the box. How do you make your cocktail hour unique? For kids, it's adding games. For adults, maybe it's the piano player, the keyboardist.
I'll never forget, I was at an event and we had a keyboardist playing, and he was just going in on all of the music, and it's just a seamless transition from one to the next. And I remember talking to, I think like an aunt or an uncle of the guest of honor, and he goes, hold on, are they playing Metallica right now? But it was like a keyboard fun vibe of Enter Sandman. Like, and you didn't even realize that they were playing that because it just fit so nicely with the vibe of the cocktail hour. But it was like, wait a minute, that's Metallica. And it's like, oh, that's cool. And when you start like having that reference in the back of your head, you're like, this is fun. This is motivating.
Yeah. So maybe I'll finalize the whole cocktail hour thing, because piano, keyboard, excellent, but maybe a duo or a trio. You know, our good friends at Acoustic NRG, you know, we love their cocktail hours. Like, it's kind of like a yacht rock meets like happy hour at a bar kind of feel. Right. It's three dudes, you know, guitar, vocal, and keyboard, and they just play such fun songs. It's all upbeat, happy, you know, toe tapping, sing along kind of stuff. And you know, you said it with the keyboardist, it sets the tone for a different cocktail hour.
Yeah. What's nice is that when you have like a trio, you can really get granular in your theme. So if you were doing a beach celebration, why not have that beach bar vibe from your musicians? It's a great way of kind of framing it.
Actually, the last beachy party I did, which was at a waterfront venue, we had a steel drummer. So, you know, just a fourth version of percussion.
There you go. Right. Another one that I really like seeing is a guitarist/guitarist vocalist. Again, this is gonna be more for your cocktail hour or like an auxiliary room, but it's a really cool fit because it gives you that like sing-along pub vibe that a lot of adults gravitate towards.
Yeah.
And I think that if you have a lot of like sing-along style music that you love that might not have a real home on your dance floor, having a guitarist play it at your cocktail hour is a great way to compromise on that.
I can't agree anymore. And Dylan, let's maybe take it home here. This past year, how many mitzvahs do you think you did that were some sort of music theme?
Music theme? Like, and music adjacent, like, you know, Broadway or dance?
Yeah, and I could think of some rock and roll mitzvahs that we did too.
I would say, me personally, I saw probably 10.
That's a fair amount.
If I did 60 mitzvahs last year, I probably saw 10.
That's a fair amount. And you and I did an incredible rock and roll mitzvah where, you know, the decor was like rolling trunks and, you know, like road cases, and it was very edgy. But you know what that party was missing?
It didn't have a single live musician.
Did not have a live musician.
For a rock and roll concert themed event.
Yeah.
That is a little fun.
So, you know, there were a ton of other types of musicians. We talked on this podcast about the most popular, but like, what if an electric guitarist came out and jammed at that party?
Yeah.
You know, and Justin on our team has done that with us, you know, where he's playing, you know, electric guitar. It is awesome. So families, embrace your theme. Like, it's a sin almost to have a music theme but not have a live musician.
Well, I mean, think about your kid too. What are some ways that you can make your kid feel special? We've had kids who are drummers, like, you know, that's what they play drums at home or in, you know, the concert band at school or whatever. I've seen it where they roll in on a platform playing drums for their entrance, or they play along to a guitarist track in the middle of their event. I even had an entrance where the kid was playing trombone.
Wow.
So embrace the musicality of your children.
Cool.
Right?
Cool. And you mentioned vocalists, like, you know, bringing it back. Like you said Broadway, you said vocalists. I'm going to put those two things together. Again, think out of the box. How cool would it be if you're doing a Broadway themed, you know, or theater themed party to have a vocalist sing some of those songs?
Yeah, belt out a show tune or two, like, you know, during dinner. And I imagine the more you lean into that theme, the more creative you can be.
Those are things that are memorable. And then we could take this to other levels. No pun intended. Well, pun intended, because you know what's on my mind? The stilted violinist. Like the violinist that is in a bubble. Like we've done some crazy, crazy things when you want to think out of the box. You know, this all comes down to, and listeners are probably like, what is this guy talking about? But yes, imagine a violinist on stilts or in a giant bubble. Like the more unique and out of the box you want to get, the more crazy we could do things. You know, we've got great connections.
And that's what people are going to talk about. And if that is the goal of being the talk of the town, these are ways to do it.
My favorite part about this podcast, Dylan, is we went in here with a topic. We're going to talk about live music, and this became a brainstorming session. Yeah. And that's what we do. Like, I love this stuff.
So my takeaway here is, outside of the fact that there's lots of options for live music, is that when you add a live musician to your event, you are stealing some of the energy that you get from a full band performance and infusing it into your celebration to complement your already awesome DJ company.
Man, I couldn't say that any better. So this is episode 167.
Yeah.
I'm Mike. This is Dylan, Mastering Mitzvahs. Check out our book, and thanks for participating. See you soon.
Bye.